welcome back to my channel. It is our monthly book club month. So today we are reading a new book. This is more of a thriller slash suspense. If you hear my voice being really quiet, I think my sore throat. I don't know. I think I have a sore throat or something. I don't know what's going on. My voice is a little fucked up. But other than that, we are still doing our book. This is the Personal Assistance by Kimberly Bell. And apparently she made this book during COVID and was supposed to be more realistic towards COVID. So it was a very interesting read. It is literally a thriller book about social media and murder. So those tend to be falling right into my lap because I love this type of stories. But essentially, it's about this woman named Alex. Oh, obviously, spoiler alert, this is a book about murder and suspense. If you don't want to know about this book or you're trying to read this book, maybe don't watch this video because I will be spoiling it to the end. But I will also just give a quick rundown for those of you who do want to read the book but want to know what it's about. It's about this woman named Alex who essentially has a following of 1 million people on Instagram and probably other social medias, where she is called Unapologetically Alex, and she talks about the real truth about life while also being still like the fake persona a lot of people are alive. She has 2 kids and she has a husband, and the husband's a marketer and she's just like an influencer, whatever. And essentially, something really bad happens when a bad post goes on her Instagram that she doesn't write, but it goes on there. People hate her. She gets canceled. People put death threats. It kind of skews into this personal assistant that helped her write a lot of these posts and also post on other social medias for brand deals, sponsorships, all that fun stuff. She goes missing. So all the blame of what's going on is going on as personal assistant, but like worse things happen where a body ends up in their home and there's like a bomb threat called on their house where their kids live, and it's just like a whole thing that's going on. So that is all I'm going to say for those of you who want to read this book and didn't want to be spoiled. So I would just stop here and go read the book. But for the rest of you guys who want to know more, essentially this personal assistant goes by Anna Claire, or AC, and she goes missing after a few days. A post on Alex's account goes viral for the wrong reasons. She basically called this woman a slut. It's a whole thing. But a lot of people were really pissed off because Alex came off as like kind of a motherly figure, always to say all this stuff about like someone younger than her. It was like, okay, now you're just a hater, whatever. And she got a lot of death threats. Her husband, who works in finance in like the TV news industry, couldn't even do his own job because he's very people facing, and those people know who his wife is. And so essentially, he wasn't let go, but he had to stop doing work. And it kind of evolved from being like a social media problem where she was being canceled and had to figure out how she gonna like delete it and then apologize, and she didn't do it, right? To be like, where is her assistant? Why isn't she here? She's here every day, and one day I meet her, this whole thing goes down. So they started assuming that the assistant did it because she had all of her password, username, key to her house. It's a whole thing. They've been together for a hot minute, and she doesn't show up ever. So basically, Alex writes a text to say, "I will kill you if I find you," because like this is all happening probably because of you. Long story short, the police gets involved because these death threats are becoming a little more real and a lot more serious. They do have underage daughters. So having that be a whole issue as well, having these comments where they actually know where their house is and actually know these kids go to school, is becoming like, okay, the police is able to tell them essentially that their personal assistant, that name was Anna Claire, isn't actually Anna Claire. But she has been using that social security number this entire time, even though there is no proof outside of that this person herself is AC. And essentially they found out that this person who they thought was their assistant was actually lying this entire time and had no regards for who they are, just taking whatever they wanted from their house, because apparently things were missing from their house, like jewelry, money, a diary from one of the teenage girls for some reason, and also like a gun. Apparently the husband had a gun in the house that the wife never knew, but she was deadly afraid of guns. I understand that. And she never knew that, but the gun went missing, and it was assumed that the assistant took the gun and left. So that became a whole thing where a lot of people knew where they lived, so they put in bomb threats into their house. And then later on, a dead body ended up inside their backyard of the house that was supposed to be locked down and had security measurements in their house. It starts to go from different perspectives of the book as well. So you will see it from the real Anna Claire point of view, and then Alex's point of view, and then the husband's point of view, because they're all 3 major characters of the book. And then the last several chapters is about the real assistant and who she really is point of view, because obviously at this point you don't know who she is. Well, I'm going to tell you who she is, so stay tuned. Essentially, the husband had a history with his personal assistant in like not a sexual way or a romantic way, but he knew the mom of the personal assistant when he was in college himself. And the mom is the real Anna Claire, the Anna Claire who this fake personal assistant has been using this entire time for her social security number. And this woman thinks that the husband killed her mom, who was AC, because when AC was younger, who is actually one of the major players in the book, she was actually severely tortured and murdered by a drug lord because she got into a business with a really bad person. She really needed money. She was a maid in a really shitty hotel with no family, no life, no anything. And in doing so, she became part of this drug lord and essentially couldn't fend for herself because she had no one to like really take care of her. So she hid money away for the future where she will one day run away and stuff, but they found out and then they killed her and tortured her because they were going to take the money and potentially the baby that she would have because she was pregnant. And during that time, the husband actually was there because he was actually helping her, not with the drugs, but he was helping her get away because at the point of he knew her, he actually helped kill a drug lord that was trying to kill her. And it was helping her throw away the body, take the money, which was like $3 million that she saved up because they clean a lot of money, and then help her take the baby away so that she can go and follow after she like gets better. I guess she gave birth in the hotel that she worked in, so that's what happened. But the problem was because she was later on tortured and murdered by someone else in that organization, he never got the chance, the husband, he never got the chance to give her her baby or her $3 million. So the baby went straight towards adoption center, and the money, that is the big question, is what happened to the money. But later on, the husband did end up making like a lot of money when he was young, and then he became a really big financial guru who had really sound advice. A lot of people kind of assumed he took the money and made it for himself, which if he did, I wouldn't blame him because $3 million just sits in the warehouse while the person who owns it was murdered. So at that point of contact, you're like, I can't really give it to the orphanage with the baby. They're gonna use it, and there's no guarantee it will go to the kids. And he was a teenager in college, so $3 million can do a lot for a lot of people. But he always claimed that he never touched the money. We don't know because it's not there. It's been 20 something years, and essentially the daughter, who was Anna Claire's baby, the one who went to the shelter when she was a literal baby, grew up and was thinking, oh, my parents were murdered by the husband. So she was the one who was a fake personal assistant. She all these like threats online circulating so many times. She was the one who put the body in their house to make sure the police knew that they were a problem. She sold a gun that the husband kept in the house. She essentially did all of this because she assumed the husband from when they were younger, or he was younger, she was an infant, the money that belonged to her, essentially, and killed her mom. She was kind of wrong, but also I understand why she would think that way. Alex, in her defense, knew none of this. She had no idea that her husband did these crimes, or I guess crime, right? Because he was a high schooler, and this is not high schooler. He gets younger in my story. I don't know why. He was a college student, and Alex had this man as her second husband. So it was very easy for her to assume this man was a good husband because her first husband was in prison. I guess he did a lot of crimes, so he's there. Who would have thought her second husband was also a criminal? Long story short, this girl who's a real personal assistant or whatever, she gets into their house and starts a shootout with the husband and Alex because she 100% wants to kill them all and then take the house for herself because the house may have been paid with $3 million. It was never claimed to happen, but like $3 million doesn't just go missing. I mean, it can, obviously, but you know. And essentially, the husband and the woman, who is named Nina, I think her name was like Nina something. I'm gonna call her Nina Claire because technically her last name should have been her mother's last name and not the drug lord's. But she wasn't adopted, so she had a really shitty life. And so she had to shoot up with the husband, and the husband ended up shooting her in the shoulder while she was able to kill him in the house where the husband and Alex and the girls all lived in. Luckily, Alex was totally fine, and the kids weren't in the house, but it was still very traumatic because the husband died, and she lived, right? She got to go to prison. She's like going to jail for murder, criminal activities, bomb threats, manipulation, lying about something, fraud for using Social Security. The whole 5-9. She's not leaving prison, long story short. She kind of still believes that a lot of the stuff that she said was true. Like, obviously, her dad might have been a drug lord. I think she believes that, but she still believes $3 million went missing and it should have been hers. And it's really hard to prove either way because you can very easily take money that isn't like a card or cash or like a check and just run away with it, and no one will even know it belongs to someone else. So if it was mistaken by the husband, it's like it's been 20 plus years. He probably like took the money, did a business, failed with that business, got real money, and then just like kept moving on. So that happened. But I would say the storyline was very interesting because it all started with this post that was on her like Alex social media, and apparently Nina, the real personal assistant, she did not actually post it on her Instagram. It was actually her daughter. One of Alex's daughter actually posted it on her Instagram because she actually really did hate the persona she put online. Because basically Alex was like one of those family vloggers, but on Instagram, who just posted everything, even if you said no. It's like what your parents do on Facebook, but like a million people. And she put that post up there because she really did not want her to do it anymore and wanted to crash and burn, which it definitely burned. I don't think it crashed. She got her falling back, but it definitely crashed. But she definitely felt guilty because that's what began the whole spiral of this all, and definitely made it really worse for her to do this because at the end the result was that her own father or stepfather was murdered. But obviously Alex was like, it's not your fault, right? I shouldn't have been doing the most on the social media. When in reality it's like, yeah, I probably don't post something that bad because now you have like trolls and the worst people on the internet having a reason to hate you. So if you just hate something that your parents are putting out there, literally just tell them, because if your face is on that thing, you're probably also gonna get like really badly injured by like whatever they do or say. So I'd rather you just like delete their social media than like ruin it for them because it ruins you too. But yeah, after it did like a little time skip at the very end where it was like 4 months later, and they essentially are living a better quote unquote life. I wouldn't say better because the drug lord that the husband killed so many years ago, the organization did find Alex and the kids, but they really just wanted the money that the husband had taken that many years ago. So $3 million plus interest over 20 years. So Alex had to sell the house and a lot of other stuff that they owned just to make sure they wouldn't come after them, though I'm sure they will because criminal people don't just stop, right? But she's still doing her social media, but in a different way where her kids are now like actively involved in the posting and the pictures and everything, so that they have like control of what's actually being put out there and not just another incident that has happened without, one of her kids posting something really bad. So that's been like the new thing they got going on, and obviously it's her job. So if she didn't do this, I don't think she could do something that would get her the same amount of money that could help pay for like these criminals leave her alone. So that was like the main storyline, and I kind of felt bad because I was like, oh my god, like the husband Patrick is dead by like whatever chapter near the end, and he dies trying to like stop Nina from shooting basically him and the wife, right? And he dies because of her, right? And obviously what he did as a kid or college student, kid, whatever, it's obviously bad. Like he definitely killed this mastermind, took the money to the baby, but the baby got to go to a shelter who we didn't know was going to be a bad shelter. And he may or may not take the money, but it's like, could you blame him if he took $3 million for himself, right? I mean, I think if I came to have that much money, I would put it away. But if no one came to claim it, I would be like antsy knowing that this money could have just been like towards me or whatever. But I guess it depends really on the situation because when he met his wife Alex, she had a big affinity to guns. Like she hated him so much, and he had a gun in the house and didn't tell her. And he had this whole secret about what he did so many years ago and how it could one day come back to him because he knew that he shot someone who was in the crime organization and still came around the circle of Alex and the kids. So it's like you had maybe like some grace given to you because of all the stuff that you went through, but you still decided to pursue life as if it was all normal instead of just being like, oh, hey, this is like not something I should do to ruin someone else's life. But at the same time, it's been like 20 plus years, and I don't think he was even in a relationship. So I can understand why he would probably be like, "Oh, I'm fine," until like the daughter of the person he thought he was helping comes back and ruins it for him. But yeah, he's dead, so R.I.P. him. I was sad because I think the whole story started off with social media being like, you don't really understand how bad you are on social media until someone ruins it for you, whether your kids or your family or whatever, by posting one bad post about you that you definitely probably believe but can never say. Because the post about this girl that Alex saw on her socials that got her canceled was about this woman who was like basically being like a little put out there, like a little bit like used everywhere, right? And even though Alex never put it out there, she definitely thought to herself, these are the things about this girl that she always knew was true, and she never wanted her kids to hang out with her because she was like everywhere, and she never liked that about her. She gave like it almost gave her daughters like a bad influence to look up to one day pursue that. And even though she never posted this, the words that she always thought, which obviously no one should have their real truths, their real thoughts and feelings online unless it's like really important for a story. But for her to like also have the social media where she would like lie about how great life is, how wonderful her family is, which they are wonderful, right? I think about it came off as like they were secretly going through a divorce, but it was like the little things that kids were doing was just put on the internet. The worst things in their lives were just put on the internet, on Instagram of all places. Not even like a YouTube channel or like TikTok, but like Instagram. This was in 2021, so they had Instagram and they had TikTok. Like I don't know, but I guess the money for like the people in the 30s are like on Instagram. But it was just very. It was like you're kind of like wait, like damn, she really getting canceled for this. What's happening? And then from there it was like, oh, there's a body in the house, and I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. And I kind of thought the story was going to devolve into more of like the dangers of social media, which it still did, obviously. But like, you can hear about like Twitch streamers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers, and how they have like this huge, massive following. But there's always going to be people who hate them and like send them death threats, like dox them, like swap them, and it's like, oh my god, it's so serious. But when people complain about it and they're in the spirit of like these 100K followers or million K or million K, a million followers, it's very much like, oh, you guys are being ungrateful for what you have. Like, you guys should be so lucky you have this much money and you have a following. You guys are getting upset because you're like are getting swatted, and it's like, what are you talking about? If this happened to like the average person, no one would be like saying this. I mean, most people wouldn't care because it's like you go about your day hoping this happened to you, right? But like, what's to happen to someone like like the Kai Cenats of the world, or like the Jack and Hills of the world? I'm sure they've probably been like swatted or they've been doxxed or like XYZ happens, but people brush it off so fast because it's like you have money, you have society like connections, you can get this all sorted out and fixed. But the moment someone who's smaller or doesn't have social media, connections like they do get it, it's like, oh my god, that's so serious. When it's like, well, someone's always getting hurt, right? Obviously, if you get swatted, you never like your security guard can't just stop the police from getting inside your house. You're fucked. Like you're just messed up for like a while or life. And I just believe that this is what the book was trying to claim, because even in their acknowledgement at the end, they were basically being like, oh yeah, we want to like show you guys more of how quickly social media can rise, because 2021 was like the height of TikTok after it got bought. And because of that, a lot of people were getting a lot of fame really fast. And it was like, oh wow, look at all these people getting on this fame, but like look at the downsides of what fame was given to them, but it wasn't going to be talked about because, Charli D'Amelio got like a million followers on TikTok after like a month of like posting. Or like these other creators hopped on, they're like former YouTubers and they got like so many brand deals. It's like only the GOATs ever posted, and anything bad was just like brushed to the side by the masses. Because like, well, you guys have a life, you're getting money. I'm stuck at home in the pandemic, can't leave my house, lost my job, do Uber. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. I mean, obviously, only the first half of the book really talks about that, and the other half is like, yeah, we really hate how we got like doxxed, and there's a person in our house who's dead, and it's all because our husband knew things about this drug lord organization. And it's like, okay, it went from being like realistic to a little bit not realistic, which is fine. It's how these books should be, personally. But I don't know. I like the first half a little bit more because no one was dead yet. I like the husband too much. I think he was definitely given the wrong hand in the book, because you definitely thought he had a bigger secret he was holding that made him seem guilty. Because throughout the book, you definitely saw him like never telling the full truth, because he always wanted to keep it secret, and you kind of didn't expect it to be like a affair, because he seemed to love the wife too much and had told her that it wasn't an affair. But whatever it was bad, that he still couldn't tell her until he had a gun in his face by like Nina, and was forced to expose everything. And after that, you're like, yeah, no, I see why you couldn't say anything. Like, you literally were like being followed by a drug organization that wanted their money back, and possibly the kid that you gave up. So it's like, yeah, I don't know how you go around dating in life with that over your head. I'm sure there's plenty of people with witness protection who can't tell you who they really are because they are actively trying to get away from people. And the moment you find out, you're like, yeah, you lied to me, whatever. And it's like, yeah, they lied to you, but like their safety was very important to them, and they did not want that to be ruined, especially if they had like, testify against someone and they didn't go to jail, or like they had a whole organization that still was out there. And it's like, I could tell you the truth and potentially ruin my life and our lives, because now you might tell someone, or it might slip, or they might find me and you get hurt. Or I keep it to myself and pray tell that never anything ever happens. So it's a slippery slope that most people won't. Well, I say most, but you know, maybe who knows how many people are with this protection. But I say that to say like, I hope to never be in it. If I ever am on it, this channel is gone first because I talk too much on here. But yeah, no, seriously, I did like this book. It is a buy two get one free. I did not buy this book, as you know. I always get these books from somewhere free and I read them. Barnes and Nobles can be my best friend if I actually wanted to like shop for books. But this was a good book. It has like less than 350 pages in it. It took me a month because I didn't read for a week and a half. But it was really good. There was times when I was actively stopped. Like I stopped reading because I was getting more and more scared to like know the truth about what was really happening. Because at one point they tell you what really happened to the real Anna Claire or AC, who was like severely tortured and then like shot in the head. And it was like telling you from her perspective what was happening before all that occurred. And I was just like, wow, I really don't want to get to the chapter where like they just like started telling me exactly how she was tortured. And then luckily they never did that. But the entire time I was like, please, please, don't let this be the chapter. They'd be like, yeah, and then she was taken into the back seat and they tied her. I was like, oh my god, please. Like I can do that for a show because I'm just like mentally prepared. It's gonna be this dark. But for a book that started out with a pose that got you canceled, I don't think it wasn't in my menu, I think, for the day. But it was a good book. I do rate it pretty highly. I don't think there was any flaws in the book. I think that the questioning is just like where did money go? Was it really used for the house and his life and everything? Which I guess wouldn't matter because she's still going to give it up to the criminals, right? Because the police can't do enough for you to live. Witness protection was an option, but you're online, you're on social media, everyone knows who you are. So, not the best idea unless you get surgery. But I would give it a pretty high rating. I don't really have any real issues with the book. And clearly, I feel something for these characters because I feel actually sad that Patrick is dead. So I'm giving like a 9 out of 10. I don't really see myself going any higher, I think. I mean, the book didn't really tell me anything I didn't already want to know. It didn't give me any like unresolved feelings about anyone. Maybe as a character here and there, I don't remember in the book who had like a story and I just like kind of forgot who they are. But other than that, I don't really have a reason to like dislike it. But it's a really good book. Y'all should read it. Literally called A Personal Assistant. It's a really good book. I mean, I would give this to you if you want it. I'm done with it. I don't need any more. Yeah, great book. So that is all I have for this month's book club. It's a really good book. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I don't know where I got it from. So to look it up, just like buy it online, I guess. It's like cheap. It's like made like 4 years ago, so it can't be that expensive. I think for this book, the price is like, oh, it's $18 in the US. No Canada fees. So if you're in Canada right now, sneak it in. But it's not that bad, actually. I mean, it's pretty bad. I've seen bigger books for like 20 bucks, but still a good read. I enjoyed it. The author has made other books, not in the series, but just in general. And it's like consider her pandemic series because she went through all during the pandemic, which is pretty cool. This still kind of relates to that. You know, does not talk about COVID at all, but it's still pretty good. I enjoy it. But yeah, this is all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoy listening to me speak for whoever knows how long I'm going to edit. And I'm see you guys in the next video. Bye.